So again, man, thanks so much for taking the time to chat. Do you want to quickly introduce yourself?
Yep, Kode Abdo, also known as BossLogic on the internet. You may know me for my memes, my fan art, and just my randomness online.
I love it. That's so awesome. And I'm curious, like, and this is something I ask every guest, is like, did you always imagine being an artist growing up? I've had people who come on who they're like, I was a sommelier, like a wine expert, and then one day I decided to be an artist or as a lawyer. So I'm always kind of curious where that takes things.
Well, no one, like, I don't think anyone actually chooses to be an artist. I was drawing from a very young age, and during primary school, during high school, I was just drawing. And I've always loved it because my dad was an artist and I wanted to make him proud and be like him. But as you grow up, you start taking on, like, I used to work at Burger King, used to work as a courier, used to work at Ford Motor Company. Like, I did a whole bunch of stuff before. Like, it took all that stuff that I hated doing to make me consider, hey, I want to do art. As I want to give it all up for art. And I did. I gave it all up for art. But it was like many years of struggles, like 6 or 7 years of no pay. Like, am I good enough? Should I keep doing it? Those questions are never are never certain. Like, you never get the answers for, but you keep doing it. I loved the thing, so I kept doing it, even though it was hurting me during the whole process. But luckily, you know, the door that I've been searching for, I finally reached it. You know, I got recognition, I got the right eyes on my work, and since then it's just kind of like I've been leveling up and working with bigger companies, and I'm grateful for it.
That's so cool, man. I'm curious too, like, what was one of your first paid gigs? Like, when you first started realizing, okay, yeah, I'm getting paid work, like I'm getting by, I'm not doing the starving artist gig.
My first paid gig that kept me like saying maybe I could make something was in MySpace. Like, I made $50 for a underage club flyer. That's like the one where, hey man, I got paid for something I like doing. Yeah. That was that point. But the actual real good pay, that one where you say that you can make a living out of this, was probably in 2016. I did some official stuff for some production companies since then. Yeah, I was living off that for a month, and I'm like, if I can do just this once a month, I can live off this. And that's what kept inspiring me to look for that one gig.
I think, yeah, a lot of artists early in their career, like, they've always got that kind of imposter syndrome, or even externally, like, people telling them go do something else. And yeah. I think especially when you're not getting the wins, it's a lot easier to be like, crap, like, maybe they're right. And I think you kind of already hinted towards that, but I think especially from you, where a lot of people look up to you, like, I think that means a lot. If it's, you know, I'm curious, like, what your experiences were like. Like, did you ever have yourself even thinking like, shit, am I gonna make it, or should I?
Like, I'll be lying if I say I don't doubt myself now. It's like, but just the pros outweigh the cons now. I wanted to quit 1,000,001 times. Like, when my career was starting moving a bit, I got approached by Nike, and they wanted me to do a job, and they loved my work, but they gave me a job that was way more than I can handle. I couldn't give them what they wanted, and I tried for days. Like, I would stay up for 18 hours creating the job. By the end of it, Nike gave me my paycheck, but they didn't want to go with the job because it wasn't what they were looking for. And after that point, I took a couple months off design. It's like, I'm not good enough for this industry. I'm not good enough for myself. And I literally got sick after that job. And I didn't want to do anything anymore. But what got me back into it is just, I started creating again, started posting online, people giving me like props and stuff and making me feel better. You get the endorphins of people liking your work again. And from then I just kept getting better. But from that moment, I wanted to redeem myself with the Nike job. So I kept outdoing myself so the next time I get a job, I crush it. That's what I needed to do. I needed to prove that to myself. Yeah,
it's like you get beat up once, so the next person I'm going to kill, just to show I'm in business.
That's exactly it. That's the process. But Nike was just one example. It's like, I've seen a lot of artists online that they do good work, but because they don't get recognition or get shared or anything, after a couple months, about a year later, or, you know, a couple years later, they just quit. It's like, what's the point of it? No one's seeing my work. What's the point? Is that what you were doing it for? Is you doing it because someone to share it, someone to like it? Like for me, thankfully, all that stuff has came to me, the likes, the shares, and, the eyes on it. But for me, outdoing myself was the main purpose. Getting better, crushing what I did last year was my main purpose, even if it didn't get seen.
I'd imagine you had like multiple kind of bursts of growth in your career, but like, yeah, I'm just curious, like, were there any kind of big moments in your career that were like, holy fuck, like now?
Those are pretty big moments when a celebrity shares your work and you get recognition for it. But the moment that resonated with me is the Russo brothers. When the Russo brothers acknowledged my work and acknowledged me and followed me and wanted to meet up with me, that's when I figured that, like, hey, maybe I am good enough for this industry. And then I got to meet the Russos, Joe Russo, at his studio. And we talked shop, we talked about my work, we talked about my future. And from then he actually linked me up to do a Disney gig for Endgame. And that's when everything's like, started picking up from each angle, from each studio.
That's so cool. And I'm laughing a second ago because you're basically saying like it wasn't until the Russo brothers said that your work's amazing that you felt like, oh, okay, cool, maybe I can make it. It's like way to set the bar really high.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's like some will tell you no, but I think all artists doubt themselves.
For sure.
Because that's why we try to top ourselves. We try to be better on the next project because our last project wasn't good enough. So it's always doubting ourselves. And to get to a point where people you look up to, like the Russos, saying your work is amazing, you're phenomenal, and you can make it in this industry, like, blindfolded, kind of picks you up. It kind of puts a checkpoint of where you are. Like, this is your checkpoint, and you keep building off this point. You're never going to be below it anymore. That's what I kind of took away from that.
So I mentioned this earlier, but you growing up, I'm just curious because, again, like I read that story. It was like an Instagram post once where you kind of shared a bit about why you draw and who you are. And yeah, I, for whatever reason, like that really hit home. It's just like, fuck yeah, like I love this dude for sharing that, because before it's like, okay, this guy is a badass gangster artist. That's just something that really resonated for me, and I'm sure it does for so many other people.
Basically, the post you're specifically talking about is the post where I finally put my picture on the internet. And since MySpace, or even before that, so it's been like 15 years or 10 years, close to 10 years, I didn't post my picture on the internet because obviously self-conscious issues. I had I was bullied in school, like all that, all the basic stuff, but I wasn't happy with myself. So I kind of shut myself away from the world. So I would post online, but I would post like just random things I would do in Photoshop. I wasn't that good at it and stuff, but I started, gaining traction with people, and it's like being able to communicate with people. And on socials, if you're kind of like no profile, you can't really associate yourself with anyone because it doesn't work. It's like you're just like a nobody just trying to talk. It works now on Twitter, but back then it didn't work. But yeah, I started communicating with people with my art. So, and that's what I became. Just my art became my face. Like that's what I put out online. So me being anonymous, I kept trying to make people happy, my followers happy, just doing designs, doing drawings and all that sort of whatnot. There was an artist named Mike Orduna, Fato, you probably know him. So he wore a mask back then, like a luchador, wrestling mask. And I found that so awesome. So, and I wanted to be everything like him because I respected him so much back then. So I kind of created this whole persona where it doesn't show my face. It's like an entity, but it doesn't show my face. So I'm kind of like a mask as well. So that's what I became, BossLogic, and just created art on and on and on. And that's how I became popular within my scene, but I was never happy. No one knew who I was. Like, Australia didn't know who I was. Like, where I'm from didn't even care or know who I was, because I never showed it. I never went out to cons. I never went out. I basically stayed in the structure of my room growing up in this art world. It looked like I was happy online, but I wasn't at all. And it wasn't till like this whole Russo gigs, the whole Russo looking at my work and stuff, and going to America and wanting to see them and going to cons there, I said, if that's going to happen, I have to, I have to reveal myself to the world. I have to show my face, because if I want to take pictures with the Russos, show them there at these red carpet events and stuff, I have to put my face out there. So there was a day, my brother and my, Amir Kingsletter were at my place, and they're like convincing me to, take the step to, post online. And literally I remember the day, because I was on that post. We'd done the whole write-up and all that. And it took me around 6 hours to press post, to press post on that button, because I was scared of the world. I was nervous, scared, and how, because the internet's a horrible place when it comes to that sort of thing.
Sure.
So we made the post, and it was like 99% positive. Like, all these people rushing in to, show support, show love, and all that sort of stuff. And I can remember a few certain aspects after that. It's like, why didn't I do this before? It's like, I would have felt like this weight off my shoulder many years ago if I did it. Then I got emails and DMs from people saying, hey man, we went to our first con because of you. It's like, we never wanted to go cons because we don't like what's good, but you gave us the strength to go to a con, because they're struggling with their weight as well. They're struggling with their insecurities. And the fact that they went to a con because I made that post kind of made it all worth it. And even people like Henry Cavill sent me a DM saying how proud he was of me taking, fitness. I'm like, okay, this is weird. Superman sending you a message about all this. It's like, that's crazy. It was the scariest moment. That shouldn't have been that scary, but I'm glad I did it. And I'm glad I'm still working on myself till this day.
I love it, man. Again, for me, it's just, it actually made me fully invested. I was like, yeah, I fucking love this guy now. The fact that he is actually telling who he is and struggles he's gone through, opposed to, I do cool art. It was a huge turning point. So, I mean, well,
that's the whole concept people need to realize. When you see a cool artist, or an artist you like online, or even an artist you hate online, you should know there's a whole backstory of why things are being done, why they talk the way they talk on socials, why they are the way they are. And it's really hard for an artist to articulate or say what they feel. And the fact that I was able to, which I didn't think I was able to, but I was able to do that in that post. I'm happy it resonated with a lot of people and made a lot of people inspired to do the same. It doesn't even have to be an artist. Some people are going through shit. They could be going through shit and you don't know. So just be wary of that when you take aim at people.
Yeah, I think it's brilliant advice. The premiere, what was that experience like?
That was, okay, you gotta remember that was my first outing after that post. Literally, that was my first social place that I was with people. Seeing people and people that know me. So it was kind of overwhelming that I was in a theater with everyone that was in the Endgame movie. Absolutely everyone that was in that movie was in the same theater as I was. I was literally 20 seats away from Robert Downey Jr. and all those people. So that was a great experience, seeing the movie and getting claps and, laughter and cheering with everyone that worked on the movie. So that's something for the books for me. But after the movie finished, I went to the after party and I got to talk to many of the stars and mingled with a whole bunch of people. And it's crazy surreal being in a room with everywhere you turn is someone you've seen on TV. It's what, do you go shake their hands? Do you go say hi? Is it weird? So we just we were just random, me and my crew, just like standing in like some corner, just like drinking like I don't know what the hell we were drinking at the time, but we're just like we looked all good as fuck, basically. But it was a great night. It's something that I still remember now.
That's so awesome, man. Yeah, I mean, especially that movie, it has such an iconic place in movie history.
Yeah.
Like even the first Avengers, I'll say, like just watching that, I was in awe. I was like, holy shit, they pulled it off. Like you've got a bunch of A-list, because you'd never had really A-list celebrities all in the same movie on par with each other before. It was always who's the lead, you know?
Yeah. And that's what's crazy about Endgame. Endgame is like has like a dozen A-listers and like high production people like in the producers chairs, in the director chairs, and in the even the sound development chairs. It's like you had like a whole bunch of people, and then you had other famous sports stars and stuff that were at the premiere. It's like you don't know who to say hi to. It's like every person you got to say hi to, you want to like a photo opt, and I don't want to do that. I'm not that type of person.
Obviously, you worked on a lot of killer projects. What was your experience like on Far From Home?
Far From Home. I loved Far From Home because it was like when I deal with Spider-Man, it's kind of like an easy gig. You kind of know what the audience want when you're working with Spider-Man. It's like do something fun, do something centered around him, do something that will bring attention to like the whole Spider-Verse sort of thing. I absolutely loved it. And at the end of the day, when I finished the whole project, I didn't know they were going to put it on billboards, like around cities and on buses. So you can imagine my experience when I see a bus in Melbourne with a whole banner that I created on it. I'm like, okay, no one mentioned this. That's like, that's crazy.
The first ever like big commercial project I ever did was some stupid lollipop or ice cream commercial or something where it was like printed on a bus in Sydney, and I got to see my work on a bus in Sydney. And it was just like really a letdown because it was a stupid you know, ice cream or something. But I was like, there's my stuff. But I'd imagine like Spider-Man might be
That's
big.
exactly it, man. It's like you're standing next to the bus and you're looking at a random person. I did that. And it's like, they mean, like, what do you mean? It's like, I created that. It's like, you created Spider-Man? No. Let me get, okay, I can't explain.
I'm blown away at, like, obviously you'll pick topics that are very trending for personal work, and something relevant comes up, you're instantly there. But like, not only are you posting something that looks amazing, but creatively it's just fucking genius. It's like, holy shit, like, how do you typically pick things, and how the fuck do you come up with like brilliant ideas around them so quickly?
Sometimes it's luck, because the thing that pops up or the news that pops up is something I like or resonate with, and I can quickly come up with something creative that will like spark conversation or topic. I've been doing that for a while. It's like I love puns. I love creating something from a wordplay or something. If that sort of something is connected to another thing that's relevant, I kind of mash them together. And that's where it comes from, really. I've done so many like crossovers and puns and jokes about things. It's like when I see something, like, I'll give you the most recent example. It wasn't even a pun, but Daft Punk, when they called it quit. All I saw in my head is their helmets look, if they put them side by side, kind of look like love hearts. So I kind of done their helmets facing downwards, and I kind of warped them a bit so it can look like a heart. But their helmet at the bottom of it kind of looks like a broken, like when they put them together, it kind of looks broken. So it's kind of a broken heart. And that's what I put up as them broke, like it's broken hearted, like they left, they quit the scene. And I wanted to post something really good for them, and I didn't have the time. So I thought something creative and something that is heartfelt that I can create in 10 minutes would be much better. So I created that in 10 minutes.
For you, the work that you post, let's say on your Instagram, like how much of that is professional work versus personal work?
I say 90% of it is like for fun and your entertainment, and real work is probably 10%.
Got it.
Yeah. Which I want to do more real work and show you more of my real work, but I feel like socials is like, you go there, I go there. We want to escape from the real world and enjoy ourselves. That's what I kind of cater to.
You now had an excuse to create a secondary account to have more creative freedom to do something outside of the context of what you typically do. If you just want to walk through the whole Jimmy Fallon, Jake Gylenhall deal.
that whole day was weird as hell. I think I was working on Spider-Man pieces back then, the official ones. But yeah, then I get like a text message from my niece, and then a whole bunch of people calling me. It's like, "You're on Jimmy Fallon." I'm like, "No, I'm not. I'm here. I'm at my house." And it's like, then I turned it on. I watched the clip, and I saw Jake Gylenhall present the meme, or Jimmy Fallon presented the meme, and then there's a whole back and forth of BossLogic and getting my name wrong and all that sort of stuff. And it got to the point where it's like, fuck, that's crazy. It's like everyone's like searching me up on Twitter, searching me on Instagram. I'm like, I'm gonna use this opportunity to create another account. So why not? I'll create another account and go from there. So I did. I created the BossLogic account. It's like a dark air account. I wanted to know what content I should put out there, and I realized that I do a lot of dark work because I don't want to be edgy or anything, but it's like I like dark work. I like it brings out more emotional side, more of a side that speaks to people and takes them to a whole different scape than fan art and stuff. And I've always wanted to do it, but if I posted that sort of art on my page, on my original page, always people ask me, "Are you okay? Is something wrong? Do you need to speak?" And I'm like, that's not the case. I'm not on the point or the brink of harming myself. That's not the point of this art. This art is to spark different emotions, fear, like sadness and all that sort of stuff. But yeah, I figured I can do that on the BossLogic page, and I got more serious with it. Now it's called Subject B, or that's what it was supposed to be called, but it's called Suspect now. Mm-hmm. So it's kind of the suspect side of BossLogic. Yeah, and I'm still working on it, and I've actually created, like, I don't know if you've seen my character I've created for BossLogic, the one with the arm comes out, a Wacom. Mm-hmm. Well, yeah, there's that piece and stuff, but I've also created a suspect side version, and yeah, and we're doing a whole storyline with it. So a big thing was created from that one talk show.
I was excited about that because I just felt like it's kind of what you said. In a lot of ways, there's like a set expectation of consistency of this is the stuff that you post, and yeah, in a way, like having that secondary account, more work, but it was to me, it looked like, yeah, this is a chance for you to explore a whole different thing that you probably wouldn't get to explore otherwise.
I like that the fans resonated with it, as in, like, it's not just another page where you just dump more stuff. It's like you have to play the whole persona, like, mm-hmm, with it. It's like always be dark, always use less colors, use less saturation, all that sort of stuff. Yeah, you're kind of practicing a different style of art, which is dope, I think, because it helps you in your normal, with your other side of things. Yeah.
BossLogic, I mean, do you see that as an alter ego in a lot of ways? I mean, going back to what you talked about earlier with the anonymity earlier on, and I'm always proud of myself when I managed to actually nail that word. I'm always fascinated with the idea of alter ego. I mean, a good example, if you read up about Beyonce, she's like this quiet church girl, but she created in her mind Sasha Fierce, which was this personality that she would embrace when she goes on stage. So it's not her, it's this other persona that she embraces.
Yeah, I would say that, because I'm Kode, like, that's, everyone knows that now. But the BossLogic stage, like, when I didn't have a face online, I was kind of like, again, I was fearless. I was do whatever I want, create whatever I want, say whatever I want. I wasn't an asshole. Like, I wouldn't go into politics and, shit on anyone's, like, work or anything, but I felt comfortable because I was someone else. Yeah.
I guess, like, one or two last questions. One, I'm just kind of curious, like, what your typical day is like. I mean, I assume you don't get much sleep because you're a workaholic, but walk us through, like, a regular day for you.
Okay, it's kind of changed now after, like, work has gotten hectic and stuff. But my usual day is, like, I wake up about 9 and get up, have breakfast, and just start working on projects that I have with clients while checking my Twitter feed and seeing if anything's viral. And if something pumps up, it's like I'm in Photoshop. I'm like, okay, I'll create this thing in like 5-10 minutes, post it online, and that's it. That's my quota for the day. Like that's my traction for the day. You can have fun on that. But some days like DC will release something, then Marvel will release something, and it's like, okay, that's a double shot. I can create two things. But yeah, so basically my work is doing client work, but I always have my side eye on socials to see if anything's happening. And then I create stuff for myself. I kind of try to do like a 9 to 5 now. I stop at 5 o'clock, but that never works out for artists. You keep working. I'm trying to get like better sleep these days, but that also never works out. I end up sleeping like at 3 or 4 a.m. and just rinse, repeat, man. I wake up at 9 again and do the same thing. But the thing that's changed now is my world is all Zoom calls, like and phone calls with clients, and like everyone that I talk with is from LA. So they're like, hey, can you wake up at 6 a.m. in your morning and let's talk on Zoom? I'm like, please let me sleep. I just want to sleep. But yeah, so I have to cater that in now. I have to cater Zoom calls with different people. Like the more hip and progressive people in LA like to talk to me at the like 3 a.m. their time. So that's good time for my sake. But then I have to spread out the times from the mornings and nights. So I don't even know how to space them out. I need a secretary, man.
Dude, what the hell? I mean, so is it mainly like, is it entirely just you, or do you have other people you're working with?
I have a team. I have a team in New York, but they're my concept artists. They're my basically all relations and big jobs in the States. I work through them with that stuff. But yeah, I need a secretary for this side of the world.
Dude, yeah. I mean, again, the more you have team around you, I mean, it doesn't need to be a big one, but it just means that you're able to focus on the things you got to focus on, like a life changer. Like, I don't know if you have it. I don't know if it's just me, but I literally nowadays, I get anxiety from emails. Like, I don't go to my emails. Like, I look at them and I'm like, I'm scared to reply or open them. It's like, because if I reply or open them, that opens another sort of, I need to work or I need to set a time. So I kind of get like pressure on my chest not to open emails. And I feel bad because I need to reply to these people. I need to reply to these DMs. And I feel really bad that it's literally in my head. Like I hear voices in my head, don't do it, don't open them. I'm like, I find it fucked up. My assistant who also produces the podcast, like she helps me with all my email. And so she'll probably laugh at that because I'm the worst person on the planet when even my taxes right now, my accountant's been emailing me for 2 weeks. Like, can you just say yes, like, you know, approve this thing and sign it? And yeah, I'm the worst because like whenever I open my email, it's like what new projects are coming in that I've either got to say yes or no to and I'm burdened with. And yeah, I'm notorious about that. The one thing though that's worked out really well is that I've got someone who handles like any course stuff, like things like that, helps out with support there. But on the weekends, any emails I don't reply to, which is pretty much all of them these days, then those ones all kind of get built into like a big summary. So my assistant helps me with that, putting into like a big email saying, here are all the emails, here's what they're about, you need to reply to these. And the idea was that then I'd go and reply to them, but I don't. So now we have Monday 5 p.m. meetings where I still have Monday to reply and I don't. So now we'll reply together. And that ends up being that she'll probably reply to most of them. And I'll say, no, I need to reply to these because it needs to come from me. And then I don't reply. So I completely sympathize with you. And this, to me, applies to everything. It's the things that you're not good at, you either set the goal of getting better at, or you delegate to someone else who's really good at that. And it means that you can focus on the things that otherwise you would be bottlenecking everything with. In other words, if I don't reply, eventually that becomes a problem. But having someone else who's got my back means that things keep moving forward. Yeah, that's what I need to put in my head, because it's kind of shocking. Like yesterday, I set an hour aside so I can reply to emails. And I'm like, I do it every day. There's an hour. I'm going to reply. I look at my emails and I feel like this wave of pressure just looking at the emails. I'm like, yeah, fuck that, I can't do it. I feel you, man. I feel you. So I'm always intrigued when it comes to opportunity cost, because I think a lot of people are going to be like, I just want a job. I just want a job. For certain people, it's going to be, there's a lot of opportunity. How do you pick and choose like what jobs you want to work on?
Obviously, a lot of people that are listening to this are going to pick a job where it pays a lot. Regardless of what it is, they're going to pick it because it pays a lot. That's a given. Like, you want to get paid. But for me, picking jobs these days is I want to have fun doing it. When I share it, it's organic. I can show my true feelings of how I felt working on it. When I share it, it's like, it doesn't seem like a paid ad, like a paid promotion. There was a job for a cigar company. They offered me a lot of money to work on it, but it wasn't me. I don't advocate cigars. I don't smoke them. I have nothing to do with them. So me creating that just because for the money, how do I promote it? How do I promote that I made this? Like, or show people that I made this? So I passed on it. So I pick and choose what I can resonate with, what I can deal with, what I can see myself helping as a project. If I wasn't the artist, I would be the one pitching it. That's how I pick my jobs. Something I'm always proud of and proud to put in my portfolio.
It's cool. I like that. It's kind of, it doesn't align with your brand, but it also doesn't align with your ethics.
Yeah, that's basically it. It's like, even like just throwing out there, like, or diaper box design or something like that. It doesn't resonate with you. It doesn't matter how much it pays. It's just weird that you did that. Yeah.
What kind of stories can you share of, like, I'm just curious of people who've reached out to you that you've inspired?
There's a lot, like the one I mentioned before, people going to cons because they saw me coming out of this box that I'm in. So they wanted to do the same, and they felt great. They felt like a burden's lifted off their shoulders. Then there's other people that I've seen, like artists. It's like their parents didn't like them pursuing art, but after they showed him me, and I'm from Syria, and I'm like I came from a poor background and all that sort of stuff, and I made it in art, and their parents like loved that story, and they loved hearing that, so they let their kid do art. It's like, oh, I had a 16-year-old kid reach out to me. He goes, can you speak to my mother? And it's like his mother reached out to me, and I told her like the whole story. It's not going to be all peaches and stuff, but it's like, if your son loves that, let him do it, let him pursue. It's like, the only thing you have to lose here is a future that you want for your kid, that you set out, that you think is safe, instead of one that he would love or enjoy. Or, you know, if it's a mistake, let him make the mistake. It's like, just let him do it. This is just one of many. Like, I've talked to so many parents. There was a kid on Twitter. It's like, he does drawings. He's got autism, and he loves drawing, and he's like creating art, and his parents are showing it off. I wanted him to get into the digital world, so I helped him secure a Wacom so he can start doing digitally. And his parents did that. They got him it, and now he's doing artworks digitally. And it's like, that's what I feel good about. That's what I love to see. I love people growing in the art space. I love helping them out. The fact that I'm here and I'm not intentionally helping people, but me just doing what I love helps people, just means the world.
Fucking love that, man. Fucking love that, man. Again, thank you for sharing all this. I mean, it's been so cool to chat about everything and get more insight into who you are. But again, like, just I think it's just so obvious for everyone, like, where your heart is. It's not like, hey, I'm doing cool shit, making money, you know, doing the stuff. It's, you know, you really love what you do, and honestly, this has been fucking cool. So thank you.
That's what it's about, man. At the end of the day, it's not about money. It's not about anything. It's just like, you're doing the thing you enjoy, and if people are enjoying what you're doing, like, at the same time, it's like, I feel like an entertainer, which is awesome online. So yeah, I'll keep doing this until I can, like, until I can't do it no more. So when my eyes give out or my hands give out, it's like, I'll still do it.
I'll link to everything in the show notes. There's a given where to find you, but where can people go to find you online?
Basically just search on BossLogic on all platforms. You'll find me there.
Beautiful. Awesome, man. Again, thank you so much. It's been awesome.
Appreciate it, man. I've always wanted to talk to you, and I'm glad I got to sit down and do it.
Hell yeah.